Hey guys, so I was thinking the other day, why do you think that you don't see a lot of bars in comic books?
Like
Good
drinking
question,
establishment
actually.
bars?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these guys, they got to go somewhere to get a drink after they save the world, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think it's because they all look a little too sketchy.
Oh, in comic books. I gotcha. Yeah. Hey.
Well,
It is what it is. I'm kind of out of MCU jokes. So.
Nice.
we're
pain.
reaching for straws here. That was 42 seconds of the goddamn cold open, Kevin. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Real Heroes Show. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Click on that button, turn on notifications so that we don't miss anything we have coming up. Corey, Nick, and Kevin here for another video. And guys, there will be spoilers ahead for
Yes.
WandaVision episode 5.
Lots of spoilers.
Yeah, lots of spoilers. The first one is holy shit, that episode was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's go through our little round robin, real fast lightning round of score out of 1 out of 10. Nick, what do you give this one?
8.5.
Kevin?
Yeah.
9.
Whoa, I think that's the first 9 we've gotten
Okay.
all season. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was firmly in the 8.5 camp, so that's
Hey, that's an average of 8.75 now, or higher. So
Yeah.
for sure. I thought it was
Yeah.
the best episode so far this season.
or
Same.
lower.
Um,
Yeah. No, I agree. I got to give it a little wiggle room because I'm sure it's going to get a little bit better from here. But
yeah.
Right.
damn,
Can't be throwing around 10s halfway through the season now. Come on.
No, yeah.
What is this, Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into it. Kevin, what did you like or dislike about this one?
honestly, I don't think there was a lot that I disliked about it. They answered a lot of questions. They actually created a lot more questions, which is kind of cool because I hate it when it's like, well, we wrapped that one up with a nice bow and then there's nothing like extra, you know?
Yeah.
So everything that they told us, they kind of also stoked the fire a little bit. I love that Wanda snaps a little bit and she like wholeheartedly like breaks the fourth wall in the show, right? Because she leaves the hex and goes into the real world there, and confronts everybody and lets them know just how fucking powerful she is at this point. Hell, for that matter, I like that they called it the hex.
Yeah.
And it's a cute little explanation, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, it's hexagonal shaped, but also it goes right along with her being a witch. So many Easter eggs in this, you know, and we'll get to that, but I loved all of that. And I loved the director saying, so she didn't have like a different name, a cutesy name, some weird
Right.
superhero name,
Alias.
like he's just
Yeah.
pushing for it. And I was like, man, is somebody gonna say it? Love that part. And I really like
a little bit of this.
yeah,
A
just
little
a
bit
little
of tease,
bit.
Yeah.
baby.
And the fact that they're kind of debating over who was more powerful. They're like, well, no, she almost shut down Thanos before, so, and he's like, I would say that Captain Marvel could have come pretty close too. And you see that look kind of on Monica's face when he mentions Captain Marvel. So, yeah, I honestly don't think there was one thing in it that I didn't like.
Okay, true. Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. There's not much that I didn't like. I'm kind of curious about the director, right? I feel they're painting him out to be a bad guy. At the same time, it's almost like I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, he might be doing this on purpose. So maybe he just deserves to have that douchey title.
He absolutely
like
deserves that douchey title.
right, like Agent was like, I don't usually speak ill of people, and then Darcy's like, and then they like it was almost like
He's a dick.
yeah, like that callback to Austin Powers when they're like, what's that in the sky, and they keep jumping around to different names, like
That's a huge Johnson.
yeah. You know, like, and he's like terrorist, and it's like I'd have to say I agree with the things that Kevin brought up. I mean, when she comes to that force field like all pissed and like just leave me alone or I will break you.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't hurt me. And you know, I definitely feel like she has this profound ability to just take control over everything, and at the same time I feel like, you know, we'll get more of that, which is I want to see, and the fact that I love it. So it's one of the things I like about this episode. We see more about what she has control over, but maybe not everything, and we'll talk about more about that later in theory. But I love the little commercial about Lagos paper towels. Big Easter egg, and
might that have been the darkest commercial yet? Like,
I think definitely,
context.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, that was like a little cringy almost. You know, I think one of you guys pointed out that it was like blood red and like all this.
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
Well,
really?
I mean, the first couple commercials are like, okay, well, the bomb killed her parents from Stark. The Strucker, she worked for him. Hydra, she kind of worked for them. Whatever. But this one's like, oh yeah, remember that time she murdered a bunch of people? Yeah, that one.
Accidentally, right? Like,
Right.
trying to do one thing, accidentally ends up doing something else. Could this be, you know?
It was an accident, and you clean up accidents with paper towels.
I think one of the best things about this episode that I do like is the acting. You know, Teyonah Parris, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany are proving they have the acting chops, and they're just showing people, oh, you guys thought these were, you know, background characters, minor characters, and these actors are going, nah, we got skills. You know, like, we can lead a series, we can lead a show. And I know, Corey, you spoke about it in our group chat. Everyone else just pales in comparison to them. You know, like how they can just go back and forth between emotion, sorrow, you know, curiosity, questioning things, to being
anger
happy.
In this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
funny, anger.
The
like,
confrontation scene between Wanda and Vision.
She's like, I want the credits to roll, and Vision just kind of like, you know, no pun intended, but snaps. And he's like, no, like, and she's like, you can't control them like you control me. And she just does this head tilt. Can't I? And I was like, oh,
but
shit.
she even says, you've never spoken to me like this before. And he's like, how the fuck do I know? I don't remember anything that happened more than
before what? Before like, what? What's outside
exactly.
Westview? Like, you know, I thought about that third episode when, you know, Vision looks directly at the camera and breaks that fourth wall for a second, and it's like she controlled him to go back in time, but she didn't like what he was saying, and now he's saying it more, but she's really not controlling him. Like, she made him go to work because she needed a distraction, but it's like, man, just all that. It's what a fucking good episode.
Oh, it's fantastic. What do you think, Corey?
So I'll get the one dislike out of the way first, and you guys kind of alluded to it already. It's the fact that the main three actors are operating like up here, and that everyone else is kind of like in this region, which is not to necessarily say anything bad about what they're doing. It's just it's almost jarring when you go from what those three are doing to what everybody else is doing, because, like, man, especially Olsen and Bettany, they're just like,
oh, they're powerhouses.
They're absolutely electric together. That final scene, you know, even if you took out the superhero-ness of it, where they both kind of like started levitating and arguing in midair or whatever, like, even if they were sitting on the couch having a conversation, would still be straight fire. Like, it was so good. Yeah. I loved when they argued through the credits. That was my 100% my favorite thing about the entire episode, was that they argued through the credits. Because, you know, before it was like the first three episodes, when you got the credits, it was like, oh, that's so sweet, everything's so nice, and there's nothing wrong, which was just, you know, charming and lovely. And this was like, something real bad is happening here, which is really cool. I loved little thing, when the dog was dead, they do like a side shot of Agnes holding it, and it's painfully obvious that she's just holding a towel. There's no actual dog inside of there.
Yeah,
it's just
like,
a wrapped up. Yeah,
and it's like the typical things that like a television show back in the day would do to save budget, or because, you know, if you put a real dog in there, it would probably try to like move around or bark.
Yeah, for sure.
But, that was cool. I also
you're not allowed to like kill the dogs for the scene, so
right.
Yeah, exactly.
I also thought it was brilliant how they aged up the kids twice in one episode to get them to a point where they can actually like communicate with their parents, because you got that part where when the dog dies and they were like, "Mom, fix it like you fixed Dad," and like the fact that the kids are kind of aware of what's going on. She can't control them. She tries to like keep her powers on them when they're crying, when they're infants, and they won't go to sleep. They don't listen. Like I thought all that was pretty stellar, and it also created a whole bunch of extra mystery. So there was a lot of stuff in this episode where it's like we're halfway done. Usually the plane starts to begin its initial descent at that point, and here they were like, here's like 5 more mysteries that we may or may not solve. So really, really strong episode overall. But you know, we all shared what we liked and maybe didn't like as much, without mentioning fucking Quicksilver. So
you know,
what the fuck is up with that? Like, that's a huge moment, right? This is
that's enormous. Yeah,
first time in the Disney MCU canon where one of the characters from the outside, in this instance the Fox movies, made an appearance. Evan Peters showed up as Quicksilver, and it might not seem like a huge deal because they play it off with the whole sitcom like applause or whatever, like Uncle Jesse just showed up in Full House or whatever. But this is a very big moment in Marvel, and it might change the way we see things moving forward for like the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it definitely creates a lot of questions, and you know, I know it was kind of leaked that he would be in it, and they just didn't know when. And
or what he was going to be doing,
right? You know, I even suspected he might get used as Speed as her daughter, you know, and they might do something along those lines.
Like an aged up one of the kids would be.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was originally thinking, which I would have been okay with, because it kind of makes sense. Like, he's not Pietro, but he's still in it, and they can kind of, I don't want to say recycle Evan Peters as a superhero by any means, because he can kind of use the same powers, but it just goes under a different name as, you know, one of the twins, as Tommy and Billy. So it's like a little different. But yeah, the look on their faces when when Elizabeth Olsen kind of just like gasps.
Yeah,
you know, I was like.
And you could tell, like when they showed the back of his head.
Yeah, I was like
it was obviously different hair, and I was like, fuck, they went there.
Yeah,
there he is. You know,
apparently, if you turn on descriptive audio on Disney Plus, which is like a accessibility feature that explains to you what's happening, like if you're hard of vision or whatever, it says Wanda sees Pietro from the X-Men films.
Yes.
Oh wow.
That's actually how it says it to somebody who's visually impaired. So it's like they're not hiding the fact that it's an X-Men character, which is very fascinating. And it's also weird because he goes by Peter in those movies and not Pietro.
Yeah.
So maybe something's afoot. Who knows? I think it's more mystery that is going to unravel. But I mean,
and she says Pietro, and he answers to it.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
He also says, "Can I squeeze the stinking death out of you?"
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that in our theory
those words
video.
are chosen very carefully, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do like the humor at the very end. He's like, "Who's this popsicle?" Like pointing to Vision. Vision's just like,
You literally just had the most intense moment in the entire series when Wanda and Vision are arguing, and then the episode ends with, "Yeah, who's this popsicle?"
I'm just wondering what's going through Vision's altered mind at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
You know, there's.
You have a brother, Wanda? Why didn't I know about this? It's like, I mean, well, you did before when you were alive.
Yeah, it's true.
There's one more thing that I'm surprised Nick didn't mention.
What?
Considering his
from last
prediction from last week.
Oh, I know what
Because
you're talking about.
the X-rays of Monica coming back as pure light.
Well, I wanted to save that for our theory video.
Well, I mean,
Think a little bit
Subscribe.
more on it. I mean,
Stay tuned.
I do like that. Like I do like what they were hinting at. They even hinted at when she was talking about, a way to get into the field, into the energy field,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And she's like, oh, I know.
a brilliant aerospace engineer.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she started to like, type on her
Text
phone,
somebody.
and she stops, and I was like, come on, man.
Oh,
is
there's
it?
more to that
Jesus.
scene. There's more to that scene. So definitely watch the next video because I'm going to bring some shit up that you're going to want to
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
But there's more to that scene that one of our buddies actually just clued me into right before we started recording. Thank you, Brian Miranda.
Hey, shout out to
Hey.
Brian out in cold Denver, Colorado, freezing his ass off right now. So, boys, before we wrap this up, any final thoughts on this one before we leave everybody with bated breath for our theory video later this week?
This is the episode where things change for the
Yeah.
MCU. In my opinion, I mean, we've been, speculating and theorizing and all that kind of stuff for weeks, but this is the one. And again, in the theory video, I'll expound on that just a little bit, but this is the one where I believe things start to shift. Some new characters are coming in, and this is how you get to the next phase
True.
of the MCU.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's there's heavy importance in this episode, and if people wonder where did it all start, it's with this episode. And sure, you might not need to watch the first 3 or 4 episodes again. Even if you just kind of kick back from this episode and watch the next 4, which is like, not to be disservice for the first half of the season of the series, but it's like to watch, and to binge episodes together. This would probably be where you start, because it kind of includes things from the other episodes too. But
You're gonna want to see this one more than once.
When someone makes a
Yes.
YouTube video 10 years from now saying what are the essential scenes from the MCU that you need to see to understand the next big Avengers team up movie, this episode is going to be on the list.
Yeah,
absolutely,
100%.
yeah,
The whole
for
thing.
sure.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, I think. So hope you enjoyed it. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like this episode? What do you think of Evan Peters? All the things that we brought up here. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that way you don't miss another video. Follow us on our social media, which is down here somewhere on your screen. And make sure to stay tuned later this week for our video where we will theorize after some of the revelations from this episode where we think the show is going in the future. So till next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.